Hey, good morning. So I am David Bath. I am your teacher for this class. And you guys know already, hopefully, we're in second half U.S. history. We're going to start actually right after the Civil War. And we will get all the way through the present day. The last day, we will actually sit down and talk about what history has occurred in your lifetime that you think your grandkids or someone else's grandkids will be learning about. So that's our goal. I will start out real briefly because you're like, okay, who are you? I actually started out in a little class like this a long time ago. I went to a regional university, East Texas State University. It was a teaching college, and it really helped me out because the teachers actually cared about you and wanted to get to know the students and teach instead of just doing all sorts of research. So, did that, entered the Air Force. My first 4 years in the Air Force, I started out as a ICBM missile launch officer. So those big, huge nuclear missiles, you get to sit and put your fingers on the keys, and every once in a while you're like, let's go, boom, and But amazingly enough, I don't know if you guys realize it, they never let you actually just launch nuclear missiles. I know, very disappointing, right? So after 4 years of that, I was like, this is the most stressful and the most boring job that I've ever done. I don't want to do this anymore. So my boss said, hey, why don't you go into intelligence? I went into an intelligence class, got out. I had focused on Africa, thought I would be an African guy. The Air Force contacted me and they're like, hey, we really want you to be at Air Force headquarters, but instead of Africa, you're going to do the Middle East. Now, I know you guys think, wow, that's really cool. At the time, no one cared about the Middle East. I was like, oh, great. I have to do the Middle East. Right after that, Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait. And as soon as that happened, then we were the coolest guys on the earth. And so got to do a lot of fun stuff. Went over, ran a SIGINT unit, did some HUMINT stuff. And I guess I should be clear on that. So SIGINT is when you sit and listen to somebody's phone calls or read their emails. HUMINT is when you go out and you talk to people and you gather information that way. And then June of 2001, I had a really good job going to do Middle East intelligence at the Pentagon again. I was going to be a planner, and all of a sudden they yanked me and they threw me into Florida and said, no, you're going to work terrorism. And again, I was really angry. I was like, no one cares about terrorism. Until I got to my job, and it was September 20th of 2001. So again, really cool, really neat opportunity. Did some really fun stuff. The exciting part for you, hopefully, is that I was involved in a lot of the military stuff that has happened in the U.S. over the last 30 years. So I will have some knowledge on that. Then I turned into a boss. It wasn't nearly as fun and exciting because you're just telling people what to do. So retired, and my wife's like, okay, what are we going to do? I got a really good job offer with a lot of money. I turned it down because I thought I needed to teach. My wife looked at me. So just so you know, my wife and I have been married since college. She was like, you're a horrible student and you hate school. Why would you do this? And I was like, I don't know. I think this is what God wants me to do. So this is what happened to you guys. I decided to go ahead and teach. I taught at San Antonio colleges, went into Ole Miss for a couple of years teaching intelligence analysis, and then opportunity came out here, and I thought, you know what, this is a chance for me to pay back for the years that people took care of me. So that is me. I am presuming, based on everybody's faces, you don't want to hear any more about me. So we'll talk about the class. All right, so the goal in this class, what's the goal of history? Anybody want to give it a shot? Memorizing all sorts of dates, memorizing everyone's names, memorizing all sorts of garbage, right? no one will speak. Okay, no, that's not what I want out of this class, right? I know you probably have seen that. You've probably seen people who are like, hey, I want you to, sit down and write all this stuff. What I want you to do in this class is understand, hey, at one point, this is who we were as a nation. Now, this is who we are as a nation. How did we get from here to here? What happened? Did somebody make a decision? Did somebody take an action? Why are we different? And why would I care that how do we get from here to here?
So we know what to do better.
Yes. Yeah, because if you know how we got from here to here, then okay, if we're here and we want to get here, let's think about what might work, what might not work, right? So yeah, that's my goal, is at the end of this class that you'll have some ideas of, hey, you know what? I know some things that worked. I know some things that didn't work. Now, I will also tell you, I really think that the U.S. is one of the greatest nations that has ever existed. Now, that doesn't mean we are perfect by any means. We've got a lot of blemishes. So my thought is, I need to tell you what we've done right. I need to tell you what we've done wrong. Why do you think that's so?
There's no point in telling us otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, if I just tell you the good stuff, then how do you know the mistakes we've made and how do we improve, right? But if I just tell you the bad stuff, then you're like, well, is there any hope for us? So I want everybody to be able to see, all right, we've done some really cool things. We've done some really bad things. So, all right. Second thing, I really want you guys to talk to me, because no one wants to sit and listen to me for an hour and 15 minutes, right? Okay, you can at least nod your heads. All right. So if I'm not going to talk for an hour and 15 minutes, what does that mean you guys have to do?
Talk for the rest of the hour.
All right, you have to talk to me.
Yeah.
Because if you're talking to me, then I can't be talking, right? So that's how we're going to do this. I will try to make sure that I don't have any gotcha questions. I'm not going to try to throw anything out that's going to embarrass anybody or anything. I'm going to toss stuff out. If you've looked at the material, truthfully, I'm just as good with questions as I am with answers. If I say, hey, what happened here? And you go, well, I read the book and the book says this, but it doesn't make sense to me. What happened? I'm good with that. Because that tells me that I can help everybody get a better perspective. If it's not clear to you, then what are the chances it's not going to be clear to somebody else? Pretty high, right? All right. All right. We will review the syllabus. So, everybody knows how to get to the syllabus, right? All right. So, you will go to your My RSU page, go to Academics. You will have this little thing here. You click on the click here for your courses. Now, I will tell you, if your computer gives you an error, go back to the history, erase all the history, and when you do that, you will come to this. All right. Once you get to the class, or once you get to that screen, you'll put you in the class. Once you get to the class, you'll see syllabus, course overview, readings, daily slides, assignments. So, every day I will have slides. And so you can kind of walk through. I will tell you there's way too many words on the slides. I used to gripe at people who put this many words on the slides. But some of my students told me, hey, it really helps us if you will put more words up there so we can go back and review. So every day you'll come in, we'll walk through the slides. That night at midnight, the slides will be available to you. So if you want to go back through and review them, then you can. Why might you want to review the slides?
Study.
Yeah. We'll get to this in a minute, but you're going to have a quiz every day, and those quiz questions are used for the midterm and the final. So you will know exactly what questions you will have on the midterm and the final. All right, so we will go ahead. For the first 2 weeks, I have the readings on the computer in case you don't have the ability to buy the book right now. I know some of you guys are not in a position to knock out the book really quickly. If you can, I want you to buy it. You will have to buy the book because I can't, copyright law says I can't just give you the pages, but I will give you the pages for the first 2 weeks. All right, so let's go ahead and we will go into the syllabus. All right, starts out with me. You guys can't see this, can you?
No.
Okay. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so it starts off who I am, where my office is. I'm over in Baird Hall. I will say I don't like sitting bored in my office, picking my nose. So if you guys have nothing to do and you're willing to, come by and talk to me. We can talk about history. We can talk about RSU. If you want to, we can talk about your love life, but I probably don't want to do that. But whatever, just come by, say hi, and we'll kind of see if anything we can do. Office hours are up here, but I will tell you, I will probably be here from 9 until 5 every day, Monday through Friday. I used to have a real job, and so I had to sit there, I am retired, so I'm not willing to be here by 8. I got to walk the dog and hang out with my wife for a little bit. But I will try to be in my office between 9 and 5. So please feel free to come in, chat with me. All right. The course objectives, all that. The textbook is David Shy, America, A Narrative History. Go with the 11th edition. There is a 12th edition out. But do you know what the 12th edition means? It's new and expensive. So I don't want to do that to you. The 11th edition is used. So you can get a used book. Like you get a new book for $40, you can get a used book for hopefully $15. So again, I used to be one of you guys. I don't like paying loads and loads of money for books. So make sure you get the brief 11th edition. You can get it from the bookstore. You can get it from online. Just make sure when you look up here, make sure that you have the correct ISBN number and you have the correct book. All right? I don't want you spending money on a book you don't need. Everybody good with that? All right. And if you need questions or you have questions on it, email me, phone me, whatever you want to do. I don't do smoke signals well. So if you want to do smoke signals, you'll have to train me in what they mean. All right, grading scale. I don't think there's any questions on that, right? I will say, I would love for every single person in this classroom to make an A. All right? Every single semester that I have been here, someone is intent on failing my class. And if you work super hard to fail my class, then I am not going to disappoint you. So if everybody in here makes an A, outstanding. All I ask is that you do the work and, do your best. If you decide you don't need to come to class or you don't want to turn in assignments, then I will allow you to do whatever you need to do. And if you want to take the class with me again, then that's fine. So I don't expect anybody to do poorly in here. So we'll just press on. All right, so for assignments, there are daily quizzes. I know, all of you guys are like, what? Are you insane? And the answer is yes. Yes, I am. What did I tell you about my college experience?
But you didn't like it?
I didn't like school, and I was a really bad student. I started out in engineering, and I took physics and chemistry and calculus and English, and some other class, probably history, my first semester. Calculus is really hard. Physics is pretty hard. Chemistry, kind of hard. And it really, really cut into my dating life. And I had priorities. So I decided to become a history major. The interesting piece of that, I had this really cool history professor, and he had quizzes every day. And because he had quizzes, I actually read the book. I know, you guys are going to be shocked by this. I did well in his class. Right? It's amazing. Like, you read the book and you do well. So that's what I do now. I'm like, okay, I know that there's going to be people who are just like me, who are lazy, or are like, no, I have better things to do because there's a really, really attractive young lady that lives like 4 houses down from me, right? Because I know you got to have priorities. I actually do realize you also work for a living. When I was going to college, I was working nights at a convenience store, which is always a really cool place to meet people. Very interesting people in the middle of the night. But this will kind of help you, hopefully, to keep ready. And then when you come to class, you'll already have some idea of what we're going to talk about. And when we talk about it, you'll be like, oh yeah, I know that. Look at me, I'm so smart, right? So, the daily quizzes, I'm going to give you 3 questions at the end of this, or today actually 4 questions, at the end of the class period. Then, over the next day and a half, you will go through the book and you will find the answers to those questions. One of those will be on the quiz. Now, I am not expecting you to quote from the book. I am just expecting you to have like a sentence or 2 that shows me, yeah, you have a grasp of what the book says about this. Does that sound reasonable? Then, like I said, what am I going to do with all these quiz questions? I'm going to keep them, and those are going to be the questions I use for the midterm and final. So, if you already have the questions, what might be a good idea?
Study them.
Yes. So, after you've already written the questions from the book, after we talk in class, go back, update your questions with any information that you have from the lecture discussion, right? And then you can start reading those questions and studying those, like starting 2 days from now. Somebody asked me, how do we learn all this historical material for the test? What's the easiest method? You know what the easiest method is?
Just read it all over again.
Well, just don't wait until the last minute. And I will admit I'm being a little hypocritical. My wife would tell you that I usually started studying about 8 a.m. the day of the test because, you know, again, my GPA wasn't that outstanding. So I am trying to be helpful here. What I'd like you to do is you have the questions, go ahead and just review them every once in a while, pop through them and go, yep, got this, got this, got this. And then when it comes time for midterms and you're cramming for your chemistry test and you're cramming for your calculus test, you can be like, oh yeah, history. I got that, right? All right. For the exams, we have them scheduled on a certain date, so please make sure that you're ready on that date. And if something happens, let me know. I did have a young lady that went into surgery, and she tried to take the surgery or tried to take the test while she was still on the drugs from surgery. That's a really bad decision. So just let me know. Hey, I'm scheduled for surgery. Can I do this a different day? We will work it out. And so I will also say I did have a person, I'd prefer you not do this, but very good student. They didn't show up. I'm like, what's going on? So I called up my email, and sure enough, there was an email, and she said, Dr. Bath, I was in an accident. She had a very beautiful picture of the accident, and put that in the email. She's like, I don't think I'll be able to make it to the test. Is that okay? Yes. If you send me a picture of the accident and you're standing there crying in front of it, I will probably let you take the test later. I prefer you not use that as a method of not taking the test. That's pretty expensive, but I will live with that. Class participation. I'd like you guys to talk to me like at least once a week, right? Again, it doesn't have to be, hey, I'm super knowledgeable. It can be a question. It can be just an answer. Whatever you want to do, but I would like you to tell me how you're doing. All right, historical context paper. This is an opportunity for you to get a chance to show me that you understand history. I grew up and I thought my family was a bunch of losers because like one granddad was an oil worker, one granddad was a farmer. I'm like, nobody cares, you know, why are they important? Well, you know what? They are important because realistically, without the farmers, what's going to happen to our food? Nothing. All right. And without the oil workers, no oil. So what I want to do in this paper is you're going to tell me about some family member. And the first half of the paper is, hey, this is my family member. My family member does this. So they can be a union member. They can be an immigrant. They can be, a farmer, oil worker. Could be somebody involved in the teacher strike. If you came to the U.S., you can talk about being an immigrant to the U.S. or what it's like to come to the U.S. and how that has kind of impacted you. And then the second half of the paper, we're going to talk about if you are an immigrant, all right, here's what I did as an immigrant. Here's how immigrants have changed the U.S. Here's how farmers have changed the U.S. Here's how union workers have changed the U.S. Does that make sense? All right, so in the next couple days, I want you to go home, talk to someone, and find out who are you going to talk about. And then on the bottom of your quiz, I will just have you write on, this is who I'm talking about. If you need to change that, it's okay. I would prefer you not just like change willy-nilly, but please come and talk to me. I have also had some people who are like, hey, I'm estranged from my family. I can't do that. If that's the case, please come and talk to me. I will tell you, we can work almost anything out if you talk to me about it, right? But if I don't know, then I'm just going to press on ignorant and I'm going to think everything's good. And the next thing I know, you're going to be like, hey, I'm failing this because I couldn't do it. That makes me really sad. So I don't want you to do that. All right. So attendance. I don't take attendance, but if you're not here, what happens? You miss your quiz, you miss class participation, and yeah, you don't get to listen to me. And I know, that's really sad. There are people probably would be weeping at home right now over the chance that they are not getting to listen to this discussion. All right. I will try to grade every assignment within a week. I will also try to make sure if you have questions over a grade, come and talk to me about it, right? Because again, communication is the key. Academic integrity. For your paper, I'm using a plagiarism detector. I don't think there will be plagiarism because you're talking about your family. But just please make sure you think through that. The second half of the paper, I want you to use resources, I think 4 resources. And so just make sure that you don't quote something unless you are documenting where you're getting the information. If you get data, just say, hey, I got it from this place, right? I do want you to take your papers to the Writing Center. Part of college is improving your ability to communicate. So I'm going to have you take it to the Writing Center. 5% of your overall grade for the class will come from I handed the paper to the Writing Center and I let them look at it and they gave me information, right? So at the end of the year, please don't come to me and say, hey, I didn't get a grade that I wanted, I need extra credit, and then I look back and you didn't turn in your paper to the Writing Center. Because what do you think I'm going to say? Yeah, I'll be like, hey, do the work I asked you to do, and then you don't need extra credit. So, all right, disability services. If you have a disability and you need something, please make sure that you talk to Jake Brillhart. in disability services and talk to me. If things aren't moving fast enough, come and talk to me. We can talk to him together. All right? All right. So, any questions on the syllabus? Any questions on how we're going to do things? All right. So, what did I say was going to happen every day? Yeah. You guys don't want me to disappoint you, right? Are you guys all ready for this quiz? All right. I actually have one question that I couldn't update. So, we're going to go to the first day quiz first. And I will tell you, the other question that I want from you is, tell me something about yourself that you think is interesting. So, this is your quiz for the day. You can go ahead. You know what? I'll do it differently because we are on TV. We've got 4 minutes left. I will give you the writing assignment, but we'll come back to this. All right? So, for next class period, I will try not to ever give you more than 30 pages. I have noticed that if I give you more than 30 pages to read, what do you think happens? People don't read. So, this is your reading assignment, and that's the 4 questions for this next class period. This is one point. If you want to, you can take your phone out because you can just do a quick snap, or you can wait till midnight and you will have the questions. All right, while you guys are dealing with this, are there any questions, any concerns? I can't get more attractive, so that one is out.
So are we putting in the first day quiz next class period?
No, you're going to turn in the first day quiz today.
Okay.
And so that just kind of tells me who you are. As you've seen, I don't think anybody is going to die over the first quiz, right? If you do, please let me know, because, you know, if I'm responsible for a death, I will want to at least feel guilty for a little bit. All right, everybody have the questions down? All right, we will go back to the quiz. And I will write the last question over here. Oh, what is your experience with history classes? My wife went to school in Texas. She can tell you anything about a football game. She is probably a better coach than half the NFL coaches, right? She didn't know anything about history because they just watch game film every day in class. So I just want to know, did you have a history professor that, you know, was very knowledgeable? Did you have a history professor that just tossed sheets on your desk to fill out? Did you have a history professor that taught you really, really good stuff about football? All right. So I'll go ahead and write the last question. All right, there's only one question that you can actually miss on this quiz, right? If you mess up your name, then we're going to have an issue. Other than that, you're pretty good. So for the folks on TV, I will see you in a couple days.